It's my first time. My wife Samantha spoke in a voice so soft it could barely be heard, her face turning a deep red. Honestly, seeing her so bashful took me aback. I found myself captivated by her, but our relationship wasn't always like this. My name is Jack Andrews, just an ordinary guy working for a medical device company. I used to have dreams, ambitions, but I didn't have the talent to pursue them, so I gave up on those dreams. My parents had high hopes for me, encouraging me to find my own path, and that's how I ended up here. Now, I have no dreams, no ambitions. Losing my dreams left me feeling empty. Without a goal, you could say, marry someone and start a beautiful family. But unfortunately, I'm a bachelor with no girlfriend. It pains me that I can't give my parents grandchildren, but I have no choice. I can't give them what I don't have. As I glanced at the calendar, I realized that next week I had to return home. My parents live in the same state, just a short train ride away. It's no big deal, but they called me in a serious voice, saying they had important matters to discuss. Judging from my mom's demeanor, it's not just anything. They are laid-back parents who rarely ask me to come home, so something must have happened. The day finally came, and I returned to my childhood home after a long while. My parents run a diner with the shop on the first floor and their home on the second. As a child, I used to boast that I would take over the shop, but I lacked the talent for cooking and gave up on that dream. That's why I was hesitant to return home. But something was strange. The shop should be open every day except Thursday, and the shop sign wasn't out. Were they closed just for today? I called out, "I'm home, Dad, Mom," and opened the door to the diner. Both Mom and Dad were there, but they looked somewhat thin, and their faces were pale. I hurriedly approached them and asked, "What happened to you two?" They explained the situation with bowed heads. Apparently, a family restaurant had opened nearby, and our diner started losing customers. My parents had tried their best to bounce back, but the customers only dwindled. When Dad investigated why we had such a sudden drop in customers, he discovered anonymous rumors circulating about our restaurant. People claimed to have seen cockroaches or said the diner was dirty due to its age. Strange rumors were going around, and there was no way to stop what people were saying. Despite my parents' efforts, sales continued to decline, and they ended up in debt. Even if they closed the diner, the debt remained. In the worst case, they might have to sell our home. Dad had tears of frustration in his eyes, and his voice was shaking. I had never seen him like this, and I couldn't help but ask, "Can't something be done? At least about the debt?" "The debt is $80,000, Dad muttered, hanging his head low. He looked defeated, as if he had exhausted all avenues for a solution. In desperation, I turned to Mom and suggested, "Can't you ask for help from your friends?" She hesitated for a moment before finally breaking her silence. "Well, I did talk to them," Mom began. "Actually, one of my friends mentioned she might be able to help, but there's a condition." I leaned in eagerly, ready to hear the condition. If there was a chance of getting help, I was willing to consider any terms. However, Mom seemed reluctant to continue, keeping her head down. Encouraged by Dad, she finally revealed the condition. She proposed marriage to her daughter. I was taken aback. "What?" "You know, I used to go to that flower arrangement class, right? That's where I met her. Her husband is the CEO of a leading company, and their daughter, Samantha, apparently hasn't found a partner, even though she wants to get married." My friend mentioned that Samantha is shy and hasn't been able to find a partner. According to her, if I marry Samantha and become part of their family, she'd be willing to help us out. Dad interjected, concerned about my future. "Jack, You have the right to choose your own partner. I don't want you to make this decision just because of our debts. But I was resolute. No, I'll take the deal. I reassured my worried mother. I couldn't bear to see the family business I'd grown up with crumble, and I couldn't take over the business myself. If getting married was the solution to save it, I was willing to do it. Besides, Samantha was a CEO's daughter, a rare opportunity for an ordinary guy like me to have such a connection. There were a few downsides for me, but I decided to proceed. However, when I met Samantha in person, I couldn't help but have second thoughts. The day I met Samantha, the thought that ran through my mind was, I see why she's not finding a husband. She must be shy indeed, I reflected. Samantha's gaze often wandered away as if she couldn't look directly at me. On the other hand, I couldn't take my eyes off her. To be more accurate, I couldn't help but notice her double chin, which was so prominent that it seemed she didn't have a neck. It wasn't just her neck. She lacked a waistline as well. Most women have some curves, even if they're of average size, but Samantha had none. If I were to make a comparison, she reminded me of a certain blue boxy-shaped robot from the future. I don't like to criticize people's appearances, but I couldn't deny that her physical appearance made a strong impression. If someone were to ask me if I wanted to marry her based on looks alone, I'd have said no without hesitation. However, given my current situation, I didn't feel I had the right to be picky. Nice to meet you. I'm Samantha. She greeted me shyly. I'm Jack. Pleasure to meet you. I responded, trying to be polite. We discussed the situation further and officially became engaged. A month later, marriage was a non-negotiable condition for repaying the debt. Samantha suggested that we don't force ourselves to live like a typical married couple, but find our own way to come together. So we ended up sharing a bedroom, but not a bed. The so-called wedding night hadn't taken place yet. Given Samantha's physique, sharing a bed would indeed be a tight squeeze. Both of us were accustomed to living alone, so it felt a bit awkward at first, but Samantha had always aspired to be a typical wife and made an effort. Good morning. I tried making breakfast for you, she said, attempting to start our day on a positive note just before I left for work. Samantha, who had risen early, had a delightful breakfast ready. It was quite a spread of chicken soup, fish, and an omelet, a truly hearty meal. The enticing aroma of the food tantalized my nostrils and awakened my empty stomach. This is delicious, I remarked between bites. I once aspired to be a chef, so I have a discerning palate for food. I can say with confidence that Samantha's soup is truly delectable. It's not just the soup, the seasoning of the fish is just right. And the omelet, from its color to its shape and taste, is perfect. The quality is on par with any restaurant. This is amazing. It must have been tough to prepare breakfast of this caliber. As I relished my meal, Samantha's face gradually turned red. She stammered. I'm glad. Be confident. I'm a diner owner's son. After all, Samantha, you're a great cook. With that, I finished my meal, not hiding my genuine opinion. Samantha shyly hid her face behind the tray she was holding. She confessed. Well, I've never served my homemade food to anyone before. I'm happy, though. Seeing Samantha genuinely happy was endearing. They say not to judge a book by its cover, and that certainly held true for Samantha. Beyond her appearance, she had a playful and charming personality. She was so domestically inclined that one could easily forget that she was a CEO's daughter. She handled household chores almost flawlessly, except for laundry. The other day, she accidentally turned all my shirts blue, struggling to sort them by color. I'm sorry. They've turned completely blue, haven't they? she apologized. A mistake that would depress me if I had made it. Somehow, it becomes forgivable when Samantha does it, so I reassured her. Slowly but surely, I fell in love with Samantha. At first, I wasn't certain how things would turn out, but by the time we had been living together for 6 months, we had grown closer. One day, Samantha came home in tears after a doctor's appointment. Something had arisen during her health checkup, and I could guess what it was. "Don't cry so much," I comforted her. "I don't necessarily expect us to have children, but with my current figure, you won't be able to hold me." Tears welled up in my eyes as I struggled to express my emotions. I wanted Samantha to understand that I was more than willing to love her just as she was. However, Samantha had made up her mind. She gazed at me determinedly and said, "I've decided. I'm going on a diet. I want to live a long life, and I want children. I want to walk proudly by your side, Jack." Her determination touched me deeply, and she blushed as she declared her intentions. Samantha embarked on her diet, and I decided to join her in the effort. After all, I had started to worry about my own waistline. I suppose I had put on some happy weight because Samantha's cooking was just too delicious. We began jogging together before work and took evening walks. But, as expected, it wasn't easy to keep up. Samantha began to feel disheartened and she uttered, "I can't do it anymore." I couldn't bear to see her lose hope. This was a promise between Samantha and me. If she ever felt like giving up, I would be there to support her. And so, when Samantha seemed on the verge of giving up, I knew I had to step in. I had a proposal for Samantha. One day, as we were going about our routine, I approached her with excitement in my voice. "Hey, Samantha, I have a suggestion." I began. Samantha turned to me curious. "What is it?" I explained my idea. "How about we buy a dress? Here's my plan. I will buy the dress that you want to wear the most right now, and you, Samantha, will work hard on your diet so that you can fit into that dress. Having a goal in front of you can make the journey easier." Samantha considered the idea thoughtfully. "That might be a great idea. I've never worn a dress before." With Samantha on board, we decided to take our commitment to a healthier lifestyle even further. We agreed to separate our bedrooms. Samantha had expressed a desire to do stretches and yoga at night, and she felt self-conscious about it when someone was watching. "If I'm being watched, it's embarrassing," she explained. "If I ever make a request like that, will you fulfill it?" "Of course." I agreed to her request. Samantha's dedication and commitment to her diet were truly inspiring, and I was more than willing to support her in any way that I could. 6 months later, our efforts had paid off. By the time we had been married for a year, Samantha had transformed into a remarkably beautiful woman. Her weight had dropped significantly, and her original figure with well-defined curves had re-emerged. Samantha now had a stunning waistline, and she radiated confidence and beauty. One day, Samantha came running to me, her face beaming with joy. "I'm going to try on that dress today." "Really?" "I'm going to change in the bedroom. Wait for me here." As Samantha headed to her bedroom, I couldn't help but reflect on the past year. It was the first time we were going to share a bedroom since her weight loss. I had almost forgotten what her bedroom looked like since Samantha had always been quite strict about keeping me out of it. Samantha's invitation filled me with a sense of anticipation. As I entered her room, I was taken aback by her beauty. There she stood, wearing the red dress I had bought for her. Blushing, yet graceful, she looked like a goddess. "This is incredible," I murmured, my eyes fixed on her. "You look stunning." Samantha blushed even more and fidgeted adorably. "Do I look weird?" "Not at all. You're beyond beautiful, Samantha." "Really?" "Truly." Oh, stop it! Samantha chuckled happily. She was flattered, but I couldn't help but express my concern. I mean, what if some strange guy comes over to you when you look like this? Samantha's smile grew warmer. In that case, you'll protect me, won't you? I chuckled in response. I had made a silent vow to protect Samantha at all costs. Gently, I closed the bedroom door behind me. As time continued to pass, we embarked on a new journey together. I made a life-changing decision. I took over my dad's restaurant. Paying off the debt and quitting my previous job had been challenging, but reviving a restaurant with a damaged reputation was an even greater task. However, with dedication and hard work, we transformed it into a popular establishment. Lines formed outside our doors every morning, and our journey together continued with newfound success. Jack, take this to table 5. Samantha called out from the bustling kitchen. Got it, Samantha. How's the meal for table 8? I asked, making my way through the restaurant's dining area. It's almost ready, she replied, her voice carrying a hint of excitement. It was a typical day at our restaurant, and Samantha was in her element in the kitchen. When I explained the dire situation the restaurant was in, Samantha expressed her desire to have someone try her cooking, despite our lack of popularity. Jack, you always praise my cooking. That gives me confidence. To be honest, I'm convinced that if I cook for the restaurant, it will surely succeed. I had unwavering faith in Samantha's culinary skills. She had always loved cooking, even admitting to gaining weight from indulging in her own creations. This quality made her an ideal fit for running a diner. While customer traffic had dwindled, it hadn't vanished entirely. I appealed to our regulars to give Samantha's cooking a chance. Soon enough, her culinary talents were recognized, and customers began to return. Some even became daily patrons. My role was to assist in the kitchen and handle the front of house management. I was dedicated to creating an environment where Samantha could fully utilize her talents. In the evenings, I would return home to the restaurant. The creak of the store's door marked my entrance. It was still early for dinner, so the restaurant was relatively quiet. Into this serene atmosphere walked a young boy carrying a backpack. Welcome back, Jake. I greeted him with a warm smile. Dad, I'm hungry. Can you ask Mom to make something? Jake, our elementary school-age son, requested. Of course. Just wait a bit. Our son, who was always eager for a meal when he came home from school, headed to the kitchen. Observing this scene, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of contentment. At that moment, I was truly happy. I had my loving wife, my adorable son, and the privilege of living with them both in the restaurant I had always dreamed of running. Samantha and I had initially married out of necessity due to the debt, and it might not have been considered an ideal match by some. However, from the depths of my heart, I could sincerely say I'm glad I married her. As I reflect on our journey, I can't help but feel grateful for the life we built together. Despite the odds, we had found happiness in the most unexpected of places. Our story was a testament to the power of determination, love, and the pursuit of one's dreams. And with that, our journey continued, filled with hope and the promise of a brighter future.